Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh for giving me the spirit and power to do this lesson, and for giving me the spirit and power to wake up another day to show forth repentance in these last days. As we get closer and closer to Jacob's trouble, the great tribulation period, whatever you want to call it. But we see this destruction drawing nigh. And as says 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 17, we need to be growing in grace. We need to be getting better and better each and every day. You just being at a standstill doing the same thing you did last year is by default declining because you're commanded to grow. You know, you might grow in this area over here one day, 1 month, and then over here next year, you might be, better in this area. The whole point is growing in some aspect in your life, something, dealing with yourself and how you treat others, right? And how we treat ourselves, right? But as we get closer and closer to this end, right? So, of course, I've been doing a lot of research dealing with this war. And we, all the brothers is doing videos over this war, but, that's what we out here for. The multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world. As many of us that can do reports on these wars that's going on, because hopefully this is going to start World War III. And honestly, when you look at it, you can kind of tell how it is because we know what the Bible says about World War III, and that's one of the big prophecies we waiting on. But when you're dealing with our reality, America told, just to simplify it, America told Israel to bomb Iran. Iran bombed Israel back. Now China is saying, Iran is going to China and saying, we need money, we need materials for weapons, nuclear warheads. And China is giving it to them. And America's like, it's not our business. This isn't our war, but we're going to support our Israeli allies. So America's getting into it. And this goes into the prophecy, the least of the flock shall draw him out. That's what we actually waiting on, is for America to really get involved in this war. We're waiting on America to get involved in this war. When they deploy troops over there because of Iran and Israel, then we know it's real. But until then, we kind of on standby. Right? But dealing with the wars and shit that's going on in Israel, these people supposed to be the people of God. And here it is, they in the middle of a war, getting nuked. There's actual videos of Tel Aviv on fire, getting nuked. And these supposed to be the people of God that returned it back to the homeland in 1948. That don't make no sense. And then they're justifying Old Testament scriptures, which them in America got you thinking that the Old Testament is done away with, but they're justifying slaughtering Hamas, Palestine, and the rest of those, Iran and all those other countries over there. They're justifying bombing them by simply saying God told us to do this. That's just like, and then they doing it right in your face. Right in your face. But Trump made a Twitter, right? I want to read this Twitter that he made. And Trump said on Twitter, because you got to understand in these last days, they're getting more, it tells you, let me get the scripture. In Isaiah chapter 47. So this is Isaiah chapter 47, and I'm going to start at 10. It says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. That's what America does. Israel does too, but America is predominantly. That's why every time something goes on, Trump talks about thermonuclear destruction, talking about bombing somebody. America told Israel to bomb Iran. They told them to do that. This is all America's doing, but they trying to say that, we're not in this war. Right? But then you read the Twitters that Trump is saying, they just contradicting themselves. and it's for our good. It's for us to see these things and expose it, and so that we can, according to prophecy, measure the times that we in. But it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, right? Their wisdom to build thermonuclear destruction, their wisdom to actually, be strategized as they are, their wisdom of having allies that's over there next to their enemy, keeping an eye on him 24/7. All of these things that go together. It says it perverted thee. It got to the point where they think they can't be touched. They think nothing is going to happen to them. And that is just ain't the truth, right? But when you keep reading, it says, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. The same prophecy for Revelations chapter 17. I sit as a queen and am no widow. The same prophecy in Jeremiah 51, where she said the same thing. No harm is going to come to me. Might be chapter 50, chapter 51. But that's what the Babylon say. That's what Babylon said. Right? And that's what they think. And even to the point where the citizens believe that. That's why the citizens are walking around like there isn't a war going on, like America isn't starting World War III. And then you got the men of this country over here all on social media talking all this bullshit, not knowing that they about to get drafted. Talking about, yeah, America fight. About time we started fighting, all this other extra dumb shit. Not knowing that you about to be a casualty because America started this fucking war. America, this is how you know that like they're exposed for being the wicked of the earth, because the earth is in straight wickedness. And America is proven they're the ones who rule the earth. How can you tell? That's just like me putting you on the phone. That's just like me and you being on the phone, and you with a crowd of people, you far away, you in a whole nother town, and you on the phone with me, and these people that you run into are my enemies. But I tell you to just start punching on them. Like, bro, punch all of them. While I'm on the phone in another town, I'm sitting here listening to you get your ass whooped. That's not a friend. But that's how America do. America's way across the water telling Israel to bomb countries that's right over there in Israel's region. While America way over here talking about we're not going to tolerate no threats. We're not going to tolerate. So why you didn't nuke Iran then? But it's all a game, and Israel's going to see them for their bullshit too. All the countries of the earth is going to see America and the American flag, what is, all of that together. They're going to see for what it, see it for what it is. They already know how they treat their citizens. They already know how they, how they did the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They already see that evil of them, but it's going to get intensified to the point where all of these nations are going to come against America. And they're going to nuke America, and then they're going to bewail America and Revelation. And that's some of the prophecies we are waiting to come to pass as we speak, man. All right, so let me keep going. It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. This is what we're looking at. It's going to get to a point where the wickedness is going to keep growing and growing and growing here in this society. It's going to get worse and worse, like those protests in Los Angeles and all the way from Los Angeles to New York. They was talking about, I believe it was like Missouri. They did a state of emergency because they down there protesting. But CNN, all these different companies, they're not reporting on it. They just calling it peaceable protesting. And it's not that. Then when you actually watch these videos, real watchman, and you really watching these videos, somehow no matter what you're doing, you can be working out and you watching these videos. You can be watching TV and you watching these videos, but you making sure you stand in the loop. You will clearly understand and realize those people that's protesting, you have people that's protesting out there, and then you have agents out there that's actually acting like they're protesting, but they're the ones who's busting glass, throwing bricks, shooting like these like Roman candle like bomb things. And these dudes are fully dressed. I'm talking about the ski mask on. They got the cohort coat on. All like just, bro, it's like, bro, you're not a regular protester. You can just look at them and tell. Y'all are agents. I seen a video, and I'm talking about like it was the news reporter talking, and you see them shooting rubber bullets at the protesters and the ones in the front, the protesters, they like, no, it's not us, it's not us. As the police is shooting rubber bullets at them, but then you got people behind them throwing stuff. That's what, like you see it on camera, all on camera. And nobody's out there going to come to terms to be like, bro, they're setting us up. They're making it look like the real protesters are violent, and they really not. They really not. And think about it. The majority of those protesters that's acting crazy, I want you to pay. If you watch another video of them protesting, the majority of those people that's acting fucking crazy is white people. Them is white people. It's not even Mexicans or blacks. Mexicans or blacks had peaceable protests. We always do. I think we done got our ass whooped long enough to know not to fuck with the white man. That's why we call on the Lord, to be real. That's why we call on the Lord, because he's too far ahead of us, way too far ahead of us. And that's how we always did. We always did peaceable protests. So before I go back to that Isaiah, before I go back to that Isaiah, I want to get Job. Like, we use this beast system every day, man. It's Google, all this shit. This shit is a part of the beast system. Siri, all of this is a part of the beast system, man. All of this kind of shit is why the world gonna say, who's able to make war with her in Revelations 13:6. Because they see stuff like this and they're like, man, ain't nobody messing with America, bro. Hey, technology is crazy. This is God's technology, and he's going to use this same kind of technology to destroy America. China has way better technology than America. So this is Job 35 in verse 9. It says, by reason of the multitude of oppressions, they make the oppressed to cry. Like this, with this deportation thing, they making the oppressed to cry. It says they cry out by reason of the arm of the mighty. They crying out because of what mighty goes, the people that's rulership. You the strongest. America. They crying out about them. Telling ICE to leave and all this extra shit. It says, but none saith, where is God, my maker, who giveth songs in the night, who teacheth us more than the beast of the earth, and maketh us wiser than the fowls of heaven. There they cry, but none giveth answer because of the pride of evil men. You see that? It says they do all this protesting and crying, but at the end of the day, they don't never say, bro, where is God? Like, we need to pray to God. We need to come back to what God told us to do, and maybe he will help us, because that's the common knowledge and understanding that we always had as a people. But that's the kind of shit that they critically beat out of us. And I'm talking about from physically to, emotionally, spiritually, social media, all of that play a part of turning us away from being spiritual people. Right? But still thinking that you're spiritual. So it says also, there they cry, but none giveth answer because of the pride of evil men. Right? It says, surely God will not hear vanity, neither will the Almighty regard it. You see that? So while they doing all that protesting and crying and even getting consequences put on them for it, the Most High God said he's not going to hear it. He don't care. Why? Because you're not calling on him. You're crying to the same people that's oppressing you. That doesn't even make sense. Other countries don't do that. You know what I'm saying? You get to a point where you bag a dog in a corner. I don't care how soft that dog is. It's going to show its teeth and it's going to bite you to defend itself. Our people don't do that. Our people will lay down and let Esau just put them out their misery. That's what our people do. Our people is known for that, man. But now they don't ever want to call on the Most High. They don't never want to, consider that the Most High God is doing this to them. So going back to Isaiah chapter 47, before I read this Trump Twitter, it says, I'm starting at 11. It says, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Right? And this is talking about Esau. This is talking about Babylon. It says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries. Sorcery is also putting a spell on a nation to make them think my enemy is your enemy. You have to help me destroy this enemy. That's sorcery too. And that's exactly what Israel did with America. Netanyahu said, they're your biggest enemy. They're our enemy, but they're your biggest enemy. And America like, all right, cool, yeah, nuke them. That's what the earth is full of, sorcery and witchcraft. But America predominantly holds it. But it says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. That's what America is predicated off of, built off of. Always took hold of those ancient Greco-Roman rituals and brought them even over here to America. They was doing the rituals in when they first got over here too. Sacrificing the Northern Kingdom. Read Babylon the Timbuktu and Conquistadors the Pueblos. Them books that explain it to you. It was doing sacrifices on Native Americans and Mexicans, so-called Mexicans. And the same thing with the cross, hanging Southern Kingdom on a cross. They was hanging them on crosses over here too. And then setting the crosses on fire, which goes to show you that these are the same fucking Romans. How coincidentally you're using crosses, the same thing the Romans used back then. I don't care if you just burning the cross. Where did y'all get the idea of crosses? Who taught y'all that? Your forefathers taught you that. Straight up. And now we in a so-called new era. Now they want you to wear these crosses around your neck now. And that's really a symbol, it's a symbolization for them. You wearing a cross is something for them. And it's your mockery of your Lord and Savior. And if you don't know, Rome, they used those crosses and they burned them and put people on them. It was a sacrifice to the god of the underworld. I forgot his or her name. But that's a Roman sacrifice to a god that they believe in. I know they called, they said it's from the underworld. Like, it all means something, man. The Lord did not want to go on a cross, so why wear a cross? So let's keep going. It says, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. All right, then it says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Councils is press conferences that they have. Now, the real councils that they having, we don't get to hear of those councils. We only get to see the actions of it. But it says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, meaning you're getting tired. The counsels that you're using, you're using the best of the best, and you can see how that is starting to die out. That's America. That's why these nations are not afraid of America no more. Their strategies are not working anymore. The threat of the ultimate threat that America always had was thermonuclear threats. And these nations is like, bro, hold on. We can get the same stuff. And Trump, like, yeah, we're going to put a sanction on you too. And anybody that's selling it to you, we're going to put a sanction on them too. If you don't know what a sanction is, let me get it. So when you hear a president talk about sanctions, right? It says sanction, a threatened penalty for disobeying a law or rule, a penalty, punishment, discipline, ban, boycott, tariff, restriction, barrier, embargo. So you see that? When America says they have sanctions on a company, it means you can't buy or sell nothing from nobody, and nobody better not do no dealings with you, or they gonna be in trouble right along with you. That's putting sanctions. That's another point proving they are the number one ruling power on this earth. How the hell you got enough power to do that? But we're going into the, being in the last days, that shit ain't working no more. They're not afraid. That's why Iran is talking about leaving the nuclear treaty. If you don't know what the nuclear treaty is, it's a treaty where all nations came together and they made a peace treaty, which we know America ain't gonna uphold. They broke 500 just in America. But it's a treaty that the nations, they all got together and made a treaty that they wouldn't use nuclear warfare on each other. But Iran is starting to back, they call it the nuclear watchdogs. But America is starting to back out on that deal. I mean, not America, Iran. They're backing out on a deal. They said they don't want to be a part of that deal. And I got that too to read right quick. I'm going to read that before I read the Trump. So it says Israel, Iran live. It says Iran prepares to leave nuclear treaty as Netanyahu says Israel has two clear goals for conflict. It says Iran and Israel have exchanged attacks for a fourth day, with Iranian rockets killing at least 8 in Israel and explosions reported in Tehran. Iran's intelligence chief has been reported dead. Follow the latest here and listen to Trump 100 as you scroll. Right. And it's of course, it's an audio of Trump talking for 24 minutes. And these are the kind of things that make men watchmen. Watchmen, he sits up at that tower and he be bored as hell up there. There ain't too much to do at the top of the tower, man. He just sitting there, but his mind is locked in. He got to do this for the welfare of the world, for the welfare of his people. He gotta sit up there and stay on guard, man. He be tired sometimes. Still got to stay up there till that shift is over, right? That's what we got to do. Sometimes we don't want to watch these videos. Sometimes we don't want to read this stuff, but we got to, or you ain't gonna know what the hell is going on, right? Watchmen, that's what they do. So it says also, where was that? Where is it? Hold on. Okay, right here. It says Iran preparing to leave landmark nuclear treaty. Iran's foreign ministry says its parliament is preparing a bill to withdraw from the treaty on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. The treaty, which came into force in 1970, aims to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and eventually achieve a nuclear-free world. Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful, a claim that Israel rejects. So Iran is trying to buy nuclear warheads, and Israel and America is like, nah, y'all, you don't need to have those. But America and Israel has them though. That's how they do. That's how they do other countries. That's what proud of being American is. American. That's what that is. Telling other countries what they can and can't do while you do the very things. Straight up. But all this going on is, closer and closer to our redemption. So Trump said, and this is on Twitter. Like I said, they idiots, man. They tell you exactly what they doing. I'm talking about like the lies. Nigga, you can see through all of that. You be like, bro, you're lying. They be making posts, you're lying. It's like, bro, look, I'm gonna just read this. It says, this is what Trump said on Twitter. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. So this right here is, but when you watching videos, man, I gotta show this. When you watch videos of Israel and what they have to say about the situation, it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with what Trump is saying about signing some paperwork. Israel is saying that Hamas, Iran, and they got nuclear warheads, or they want to free them from they want to liberate them. That's what they said. Oh my God, I got the video. And then Netanyahu said when he's done, he's going to liberate Africa. He said when he's done with this, he's going to liberate Africa. To our pilots. American THAAD missile batteries are helping defend Tel Aviv and greater Tel Aviv area. American Aegis ships are in the Mediterranean. That's all a decision by President Trump, which I deeply appreciate. Again, his decisions on what to do. See, America is saying we're staying out of this war. This is what Trump is saying. We're staying out of this war, but we will support the Israelis. And this is what he's explaining. How as Iran is shooting missiles in Israel, America has drones and certain things that they're using to block these missiles as Israel is blocking them. But here it is, Israel is supposed to be this nation of God, but they ain't getting no help from God. They got to use shit like the Iron Dome. That's carnal shit. That's not the prophecies in the scriptures on how it's going to be when the Israelites return back home, man. What to do at any given time is the president's decision. I trust his judgment completely. See that? He said he trusts his decision completely. So they're actually showing how they're in subject to America. Telling you, how you way the fuck over there talking about you trust in America's decisions completely. Like you make your own decisions. Do you want to go to war or not? Are they really doing something to where you have to liberate them or not? Like what's really going on? Boom. All right. There's a video of Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli commander, chief and commander. He said that they wanted to liberate Iran. And then you go see what Trump says, and they all just confuse him, and it just don't make sense. All their reasonings just don't make sense. Israel's reason on why they nuked Iran first just not lining up. It's not making sense. It's like three different reasons. Now, this is, it's gonna be overwhelming. It's like, bro, this is too much. And that's why I try not to go into too much dealing with these articles, especially how I used to, but this stuff need to be said so you can know what's going on, even if you have to. Because what I do, because I don't want to watch that shit. Like, it's some to videos be hours long. And what I do in my little, specific location in my crib, I got a TV and uh I have it on pause, man. When I'm done, I'll pause it. I won't turn it off. I won't do nothing because out of sight, out of mind, you're gonna forget that you was watching this video. So I keep it on pause while I go do my thing in the front room, whatever, wherever I go. If I leave, when I come back, I push play and I'll watch a little bit more and I'll watch a little bit more and I'll watch a little bit more until that video is done. You know, the Most High understands how, you know, it says that the very elect be saved if those days wasn't short, roughly paraphrasing. But the Most High know how tough it's gonna get for us, especially with technology. Who don't want to play around with technology? It's God's technology. We all do. But it can get to a point where it can cause us to, be worrying about that more than what we really supposed to be worried about. Right. And that's how the elect is gonna be saved, and shortening the days from stuff like that. And apparatus are we a part of that number. Right. But let me go back to this. I'm gonna go back to the Trump one because I ain't never finished reading. All right, so Trump said, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world. So they like, obviously, is buy the weapons that you need from us. But when you go into Iran went to ask China for help, and America didn't like that. And it's supposedly Russia, Turkey, and China is supposed to be helping Iran in his nuclear support. So you can see how the potential of World War III happening with this war right now. But the prophecy is the least of the flock shall draw him out, meaning the least of the flock is a country like Israel, how small it is, and how they supposed to be the bulk, the majority of Israelis is supposed to be in their homeland in that small land. Israel isn't a big land, but they supposed to be there in a small. The least, Asia is huge. Russia is huge. All those countries, Africa, Europe, all those countries is huge compared to Israel. So the least of the flock, Israel, is going to draw the devil out, the one we want to actually go to war, America. Israel is going to be the one that draws America out from the looks of it. It's supposed to be a country that's going to drive America out to war so that this war in the Great Euphrates River can happen, according to Revelation 16. Right? It says, China is supporting and financing Iran's malign behavior, top U.S. military general warns. So the top military general of America, like, bro, hold on. China over there helping them. And don't forget about BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They all formed a peace treaty. So if China's getting involved, Russia gonna get involved in all the like 30 countries that ain't got involved in BRICS by now. And they all gonna be helping Iran to fight against Israel and America. This is what we waiting on, man. This is what we waiting on. It says the top U.S. general for the Middle East said Tuesday that China has been providing financial support to Iran, contributing to what he described as Tehran's malign behavior across the region. The challenge we have with Iran, 85 to 90% of their oil is purchased by China. So China is effectively supporting and financing Iran's malign behavior. U.S. Central Command Chief Gen-Erik Kurilla said Kurilla pointed to massive amounts of funds still going to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds force, which runs proxy networks outside of Iran. So China is simply helping Iran. China's in the bed with Russia. I'm sure China and Russia are real tapped in. So you can see how the Lord already chose who he wants to be on the left side and on the right side. He already then chose. And then he got the war started. So we go back to Trump said, it says, by far, and that Israel has remember it said that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world. They want Iran to buy it from them. By far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Now, you think you're going to convince somebody that America has better technology than China? That don't even make sense. China got stuff America's, they probably somewhere, they don't reveal it to the public, but China got this stuff in public. And stuff that America hiding and trying not to get in the hands of these citizens. China out there brandishing it. All right, so it says, and they use it. They know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now. See that? This is the kind of post that he's making. He said they didn't listen, now they dead. And it's reports that Israel, the whole point that they got those 30 commanders, because they always doing Iran bad like that. Remember, America nuked them in like 2020 and killed their general commander. And Iran they made a vow to get America back. So I'm most sure Iran, and then they just did it again. So I'm most sure Iran is going to be one of many of those countries that's going to nuke America. And there's reports that Iran, they got the material to make 800 intercontinental ballistic missiles. Right? So Trump said they are all dead now, and it will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter with the next already planned attack. It says being even more brutal come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left. You see that? Nigga, sign this paper. Nigga, that's bullying. Sign this paper or it's going to be a bloodbath. Why the fuck y'all not doing that with Russia? Why y'all not doing that with China and North Korea? Why you don't have a U.S. embassy in North Korea? Because they don't play that. They know who to mess with. And not knowing that these countries that they know not to mess with is really getting tired of their shit. Like, bro, you always bullying these countries. And I'm going to supply them for what they need to where they won't be so soft no more. And that's what's going on with Iran. Iran been soft for a long time. They ain't been powerful since the Persian and the Medes. And I'm talking about not the people that's in the land, but like the land itself. They ain't been tough in a long time. So they need this. And that's what's going on. These countries are going to support Iran in this nuclear war, and America going to get drawn out. That's what we want. But you see how he's threatening Iran like that? He said, Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left. and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late. God bless you all. That's what Trump said, man. And it's all the Most High. Of course, the Most High is using all of them. They all puppets. America doing all this wolf, all this talking until those nukes come across the sky. And this is the kind of shit they're gonna be saying, treason, we public disruptance, all of this extra dumb shit they're gonna try to say against us because we're saying things like this. When it's the truth. I mean, your own citizens hate you. Why are they destroying America then? And I ain't talking about just the protest. Some of people not caring about loitering no more. They're not caring about throwing stuff on the ground no more. They don't care about these houses no more. Nobody wants to own houses no more. Nobody wants to do nothing in America. A lot of people is leaving the country. It's just nothing. The food is nasty. They're making it smaller quantities. Like, I know you'll go in the store and you'll be like, damn, these motherfuckers seem like they got smaller. Or a bag of chips got more air in it. You open it and the bag is halfway full. You pay for a full bag of chips. But what you gonna do? What you gonna do? This is the kind of shit, bro, even their own citizens is tired of them. Everybody in the earth is tired of Esau, man. And this is his end and our beginning. That's why we got to get right with the Most High. Like right now, we got to, man. No matter how hard that shit burn, man. No matter how much it burn, we got to get right. That's your only ticket out. That's the golden ticket. The golden ticket, man, is why these wars is going on. You better make haste. That's the golden ticket, man. So, man, that's all I got, man. Lord willing, you was edified. Until next time, shalom.